and welcome to another FAQ Monday. I'm your host, Fluff, and you know what? Today, let's try something different. We're going to not answer any questions. I'm going to ask you guys questions, and then I will then watch the comments all day, and then I guess that's it. Short video, right? I only have a couple questions. I mainly want to know what you guys think about Black Star. First question, could you post a video showing how you connected your EQ and compressor to your audio interface? Thanks. You know, up until really recently, my signal chain for the outboard gear that I have was mic input, JDK preamp, JDK EQ, one side, being dual mono, one side would go into the warm audio WA76 and then straight into a single input of my interface. Now, that allowed for plugging in a mic quickly for an FAQ video, but I could never use my compressor for a kick drum, a snare, something like that. I could never use the EQs for any sort of processing, a hybrid mixing within a DAW as well. So thanks to my my good buddy Jason, helping me kind of decide how I wanted everything hooked up. I recently just got a patch bay just several days ago, and now I have all my outboard gear patched into the patch bay, so I can now create signal chains using the patch bay. And I will go more in depth about this for my upcoming 2017 studio tour, but in a nutshell, everything is independent and I can decide on the fly which input I want any given outboard gear to go to, and then thus going to my interface. I highly recommend checking out patch bays if you're not familiar with them. They add a lot of versatility to your studio setup, and I kick myself for waiting so long to get one. What are your thoughts on the PreSonus FaderPort? I had one and I tried using one for several years, and I think I have enough experience with it to say it could have been awesome. Like a lot of things that PreSonus puts out, it's like 75 or 80% there. And then the rest of it, you just wonder, what the heck? In this particular example, the FaderPort itself is of pretty decent quality. You know, the fader motor is good. The price point usually attracts people because there's nothing like it even close to its price point that has an automated fader, a motorized fader. And my huge problem with the PreSonus FaderPort is the driver was last updated in like 2011 and didn't work half the time, and every single time Logic would update, it would drop the driver, and then you would have to go refine the driver somewhere. Eventually I put it in my Dropbox, but still, I shouldn't have to micromanage a driver for a single fader USB interface. Now, I saw that PreSonus just put out an 8-slider FaderPort very, very recently, and you know, it's like 4 years, 5, 6 years too late, and it's way overpriced. And you know, most of the PreSonus stuff is really good for entry level. You know, you're better off getting a Behringer X-Touch or something like that, something that has scribble strips, for example, and just more feature-rich hardware for the same, if not slightly less amount of money. But you know what? No, I ditched my FaderPort several years ago, and it's sitting in a desk drawer out in the loft if anyone wants it. What are your thoughts on Gibson Les Paul Studios versus standards? You know, actually, at one time, Gibson Les Paul Studios were just as good as the Gibson Les Paul standards. Now, this is way back in the early 90s. I think from 91 to 94, Gibson Les Paul Studios had the ebony board and were a solid body guitar, and they came with the good tuners, and they came with the good pickups and the good hardware, and they were amazing. And you can still find them used from those years for relatively little money on eBay. I always wanted a wine red one. And that's why you would see all your favorite rock stars, like when they first were coming up, they would always have a Les Paul Studio. Namely, a name that comes to mind is Nick Hexum from 311, and all the early 311 videos and stuff. He's playing his Les Paul Studio because they were awesome guitars. And then at some point in the 2000s, Gibson just decided, nope, we should ruin this good thing, as they tend to do. And they made it completely hollow. And You know, I think they were trying to drive the price point down or something like that. But now, as far as I know, maybe this has changed in the most recent years, but for all intents and purposes, Gibson Les Paul studios were completely chambered and hollow, and just, the ones that I've played several of them, and they're horrible. But when they were solid, they were awesome. Now, the Gibson Les Paul Standard is an awesome guitar. It's a classic, but like I just said, it really depends on what year you were looking for. I do know the 2017 Les Pauls are super, super awesome, and I don't know if what I just said is the case for the newest Les Pauls. I have no idea. I'm sure some of you will correct me and let me know, but yeah, if you find a Gibson Les Paul studio from like 91 and 94 with the ebony board, grab it. They are incredible. And now, the dad joke of the week. Why did the banana go to the doctors? Because he wasn't peeling very well. My suggestion for you this week is to check out the AFI video for Snowcats. I'm a huge AFI fan. I like everything they've done, punk rock stuff, the big rock stuff, and they are coming out with a new album, the Blood album, namely, and they just put out a video recently for the video for Snowcats, and it's an amazing video. It's a really, really great video. It's a great song, but I was really blown away by this video. I find it kind of refreshing in a Stranger Things 80s nostalgia kind of way. It's just super, super cool, and I thought you guys would really dig it. All applicable links down below in the description. You have been wonderful. I have been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.